This week for us, it's really about three things. Number one, getting better. Number two, coming together as a team. We'll spend a lot of time together, obviously, being on the road starting Tuesday evening. And then number three, the opportunity to play some high-level competition and, hopefully pick up some wins that can help us now and later on in the year. I think it's really important for our team, coming off of the three games that we played at home, to make sure that we have a broad view of the experiences we've had over the past 3-4 months going back to Australia and the games that we've played and the ups we've had, the downs we've had, the lessons that we've learned. Obviously, the competition is going to go up significantly on Thursday with Butler. So it's critical for us to have the humility level to understand that if we put our mission first and we adhere to the cultural values and principles that we talk about on a regular basis, that's going to give us the best chance to win. It doesn't guarantee winning, but it puts you in the best position that you possibly can be in. This week, for the first time, we'll see a level of adversity within games, and that's going to be something that's going to be interesting for our guys in terms of how we handle that adversity and how we respond. It's going to go a long way towards whether or not we're able to win.
Take questions, but please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone around to you. Ricky in the front right.
Kind of building a little bit on what you were just saying, when you take your team out on the road for tougher games like this for the first time, is there kind of a curiosity for you just to see how they will respond and handle the situation?
Well, if you take a broad view, that's really the number one thing, is to learn a lot about your team, and for our guys to learn a lot about each other, how we work together in a setting like the one in Portland. Like I said, at the same time, there's an opportunity to play some great competitions. You want to take advantage of that as well.
Cody on the far left.
Coach, I know it's a small sample size, but Matt Coleman has a turnover ratio of 10-1 right now. What did you like about his efficiency, leadership, and where would you like to see him improve now that you're getting into a more competitive portion together?
Well, what Matt has to do is continue to improve with his ability to get his teammates shots and understand that as the floor general, as the point guard, his job first and foremost is to put other guys on our team in position to score, not only with his passing but with leadership, with talk, with organization. I think 3 games in, he's doing a pretty good job of that, but there's significant room for growth. And he's got to keep his eyes on the prize in terms of what matters most at that position, which is not him scoring, which is him creating opportunities to score for our team. Obviously, if he gets an open shot or he drives and gets an opportunity to put the ball in the basket, we appreciate him doing that. But his number one duty at that position is to be about the other 4 guys on the floor around him and to make them better.
Dustin, front row.
You mentioned it's critical for you guys to have the humility aspect. Where do you think the team is in understanding that so far, and what have you learned through the first 3 games?
That's a good question. We're going to talk quite a bit about that today, Dustin, in our culture class. In fact, our 3 juniors are going to lead the way, and I'm going to just sit back and hopefully keep my mouth shut, because last year at this time we went up to New York and we had, I don't want to say a whole team, but we had quite a few guys that lacked a level of humility and understanding. Number one, the teams that we're playing are significantly better than what we've played so far, with all respect to those teams. New Hampshire went and played Florida really tough. So, those are pretty good teams that we've played and teams that will do well in their league, but this is just a higher level when you talk about Butler. And so I think we're in a better place than we were, but I don't want to take anything for granted. There's a tendency sometimes to feel like, if you have this on your chest, like you're automatically something's going to happen for you. And that couldn't be any further from the truth. The reality is, having this on your chest, it just creates a level of interest on the opponent to come and kick your butt. So for us, we need to have a real ability to learn lessons, not just from these 3 games, but from all the games we played going back to Australia, because we did not win all those games, and we did not play terrific or great at all times. There's individual guys that had ups and downs. So there's quite a bit to find humility from if you look hard enough.
Brian, in front, please.
Shaka, with all due respect to those three opponents, I mean, they weren't exactly Golden State out there offensively, but still, for your team to have good defensive success, you look at the guys who are in the top 15 in field goal percentage defense already, just are there big steps that they can make for having some defensive success under their belt going into something like this?
Yeah, well, I think we took some good steps in those 3 games, but to your point, we've got a long way to go. There's quite a bit to learn. I mean, we're just flat out playing a much more talented, multi-dimensional, dangerous team in Butler than we've played so far. I think our guys did a really good job against Lipscomb defensively. That was our best game of the 3. Lipscomb's a team, if you follow them over the course of the year, I think they'll have some very good offensive games where they make a lot of threes and they hurt a lot of teams on that end of the floor. The thing that I was most pleased with in terms of our defensive effort is that it was not a reflection of how we shot the ball. And I think that showed, at least in that very small sample size, a maturity level that our guys have the ability to demonstrate in not getting deflated, not dropping their heads, and losing a level of interest and focus on the defensive end because offense wasn't going exactly the way they wanted it to.
Steve, back middle, please.
Coach, you talked about so far about what your guys need to learn from this week. What was the best thing that they've taken from you? What did you like the most about what you did?
Well, I think the defensive focus against Lipscomb was very good. I appreciate the way our guys approached the preparation for that game. I think the way we practiced on Friday had a great deal to do with the way that we played on Saturday. So the learning lesson from that, Steve, is we have practice today. We have practice tomorrow. We go to Portland. We practice on Wednesday. And I think the deposits that we put in the bank over these next 3 days is going to go a long way towards how we play. Now, the challenge is when you go to an event like this, there can be even more of an impetus on an individual basis to, hey, I need to go play my game. I need to go do this. I need to go do that. We must keep our mission first and foremost. And if we have a willingness to do that, I think we'll continue to improve because we're going to spend time on the areas where we need to get better.
Kurt, you're on the front left, please.
Shaka, you only won a game on the road last year. The culture doc was, as you addressed that in the culture doc. And is there anything that, because y'all did not compete on the road, anything specifically that you change moving forward?
Well, I mean, there's 2 types of times where you go on the road and travel. There's true road games, and then there's neutral site games, which these count as the second. So there's a specific approach that we have talked about over the summer and the off season about road games, but that's more specific to going into someone else's home court. In terms of our preparation for this tournament and any neutral games moving forward, I really think it's about us maintaining a level of focus on the things that matter and that go into success no matter where you are. Theoretically, in a neutral court, neither team has an advantage. But I do think, mentally, it's important for us to say, hey, we're leaving campus, we're getting on a plane, we're going to another venue. What are the things that go into success? And we have to make sure that there's a renewed and even enhanced commitment to those things when you're away from home because you don't have the same comforts of home. We got a little bit of practice with that, with Australia, with Texas A&M, with the scrimmages that we had that were away from home, but those weren't real games. So now's our first opportunity.
Purposely staying at different hotels for the road game, anything to pair up with.
I have no idea where we're staying right now in the Big 12 just because that's not where our focus is. But, no, I mean, we stayed in the same hotel 2 years ago when we beat Baylor on the road that we did last year when we lost to Baylor. We stayed in the same hotel in Stillwater 2 years ago when we won at Oklahoma State as we did last year when we lost Oklahoma State. So, coaches tend to get superstitious for sure, but the hotel is not the primary factor that goes into winning. It's just not. It's the things that you do on the floor and what you're willing to put into your preparation, your commitment to the mission, to each other, and your effort.
You mentioned the focus on the team's mission as opposed to individual guys maybe focusing on their own game. And you always say, hey, it matters more if it comes from players. Have you seen some of your guys, maybe some of those older guys, speaking up when there are times in games when maybe there are some guys that are focusing more on themselves as opposed to the team mission?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen small examples of that. We need more of that. It's a fine line because, basketball is a game of imperfection. And, there's a lot of mistakes that are made, and it happens fast. And there's mistakes that are made out of commission. There's mistakes that are made out of omission. There's mistakes that, maybe are selfish. There's mistakes that aren't selfish, but somebody just didn't see the right play or make the right read. There's a big difference between those things. So I think for us it's about continuing to teach the right way to play, and then our guys having a commitment to that and a trust level in each other. So, there's some guys that have spoken up. I thought Mo did a good job on Saturday of speaking up at a few different huddles and with some guys. But we're still working towards, the point where the guys are 1,000% open and honest with each other all the time on the floor.
Nick, your middle list.
Shaka, before the season, Mo sort of noted that one of the things you noticed last year when you were watching this team is that they sort of lacked in heavy times and that they weren't nasty. And you sort of said Mo has a long way to go to be nasty. But through these first 3 games, are you seeing, does this team have the edge they need to, say, against Butler or maybe against Duke, to beat those really good teams?
Well, we'll see. I think our guys have shown a good response in various situations through these first 3 games. I thought they showed a good response when we played Texas A&M in Houston when they came back on us. But again, that was an exhibition game. These first 3 games have been against mid-major level opponents. So now when we play an opponent whose talent level is at a high level. Again, like I said earlier, we're going to have to see what our response is to adversity. We've practiced quite a bit. We've talked about it quite a bit. Now we get to go do it. But, I understand that obviously, people are going to ask about last year. You guys want to ask about last year, to be honest with you. We only utilize last year as something to learn from and grow from. This team, from a personnel standpoint, is a lot different in terms of who's actually on the team and some of the personalities. So, while you guys may want to dwell on that and make comparisons, that's fine. For us, we're only going to use that to learn. We're focused on this year. We're focused on this is our first opportunity to go away from home and play a game against a high-level opponent.
Roger, in the middle, please.
Shaka, this is a unique event because there's 8 teams you won't play, yet they're all part of the same event. How much is this about the whole experience, yet you've got 3 games that are the most important part of the weekend?
Well, I wanted to make sure I pointed that out to our guys on Saturday after our game because some people don't know that, kind of the format of how this tournament works. So I told our guys, I said, hey, there's 2 different tournaments going on at the same time under the PK80 umbrella, one of which we're part of, one of which we're not part of. And obviously our focus is singularly on Butler. But I told the guys, then there's 6 other teams on in our tournament, and then there's 8 other teams that we won't see. But we'll probably run into those guys. Portland's not New York City. We'll be running into teams. There's 16 teams there. I'm sure we'll bump into them when we're practicing and, media stuff and, in the hotels. But our focus, right now is completely on being the best we can be in the first game and then obviously making the turnaround from there.
We've got 6 more minutes worth of availability. Brian, in front, please, and pass it to Joe.
2 questions. One about the event. First off, this is a play Duke in a home and home or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay, just making sure. Then secondly, I would imagine that other teams like Lipscomb, they want to go right at Mo and say, hey, they want to get their poster opportunity. Right?
I told that kid after the game, I said, I would have talked trash after that dunk, too. That was impressive.
Exactly. It was impressive. It very much was impressive. And I would imagine other teams are going to try to challenge him like that. Number one, how did you think he responded to that? And did you think that other guys kind of fed off, hey, they're coming after one of our guys?
Well, first of all, it was good that it happened, and it was good that I believe we were down by 1 point, 5-6 minutes into the game. It was like 12-11 or something like that, because we told our guys, first of all, they've got some guys that can make some plays on the offensive end, and their bigs are capable of scoring around the basket. Those guys are crafty in there. They're experienced. And then it happened. So it's good when those sorts of things happen to, let the guys know this is real and this is what we talked about, and there's no reason to flip out. We need to just go play and do what we've practiced doing. In terms of Mo's response, I thought his response with his play was very good. I thought he got a little bit into, some of the wrong things with talking, but that's always a fine line because, that's part of the game sometimes is, chirping a little bit. It happens both ways. Obviously, their guy did it. He got a technical. Mo was talking a little bit. I don't have a huge problem with it until it becomes something that takes away from what you're doing with your teammates on the court in terms of accomplishing your mission, and also when it takes away from your focus and your motivation towards the game. For some guys, talking makes them better. They kind of get going that way. I don't know that I've not learned from experience that that's necessarily Mo. But, the guy dunked on him. So, a natural inclination as a competitor is to get your juices going.
Quick follow-up. But along those lines, though, if Mo's coming back chirping at those guys, other guys see that. That's kind of what we were talking about. This team needs an edge, right?
No question. I'd rather have that than apathy. And I'd rather have that than complacency. I'd rather have that than some type of thinking that somehow, we're above even getting into a competitive, heated way of playing and way of being. So I would rather err on the side of that. Now, we don't want technical fouls. We don't want to give them 2 points. But I appreciate. I thought, I'm always on Mo about being the most engaged player on the floor, and I thought he was very engaged in that game.
Joe, in the middle, please. With this being a holiday week and games falling on Thanksgiving, what are y'all's plans with the holiday as a team?
Well, we play, so that dominates our plans. Our game is what, Scott? 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock Pacific time, right?
Yeah, 4 o'clock. So it kind of cuts the day in half. You typically have shoot around about 5 hours before the game, pregame meal 4 hours before the game, then you're preparing for the game. After the game, we'll be quickly turning the page to, whoever our next opponent is. I believe on Saturday, because we don't have a game, we play Thursday, Friday, Sunday. On Saturday, we'll get a chance to have a meal that somewhat resembles what a Thanksgiving meal would be. There's a lot of, folks coming along with us that will participate in that as well. So that's about the best we can do. But we'll certainly talk as a team about what we're thankful for. Gratitude and appreciation is a huge component of what we talk about culturally normally. So anytime that there's a holiday, particularly this specific holiday that's all about being grateful and being thankful, we want to highlight that.
Dustin, please, have time for one last one after Dustin.
The outside shooting, it seemed like live, a lot of those looks were good looks from the perimeter. Is that what you saw when you watched the tape? And what do you say to those guys that do miss some of those open looks? What's your advice to keep those guys going and get some of those things to drop?
Well, I thought most of them were good looks. I thought the guys, stepped into them with confidence. I think we're shooting a little bit fast sometimes. So what do you say to them? Number one, there's a gym upstairs called Cooley. It's open 24 hours a day. It's dedicated to you guys and our program, so let's go to work. You know, and those guys have done a good job of getting extra reps, but we need to continue to do that. Then number two, let's make sure we're focused on getting the right shots and shooting them with discipline and confidence. That's easy to say and a little bit more challenging to do, but, you know, Eric Davis, he shot the ball really, really well all off season. He's made 500 jumpers a day, shot the ball well in Australia, shot the ball well in our preseason scrimmage exhibition games. Jace Febres has, Andrew Jones has. So those guys, you know, are going to continue to take the looks that we want them to take, and you know, we have to have confidence that they're going to go in.
Kirk, last one for us. Are you doing any experimenting with your lineup at all, or your rotations?
Well, you know, it's one of those things we're talking about as a staff quite a bit, Kirk, because, you know, in these first 3 games, we've played a lot of guys, and we've tried to get some guys experience, because I do believe over the course of a season you are going to need those guys. You don't know exactly when, but, you know, for a variety of reasons, it's important to have some depth. That being said, you go into a game, you realize you're going to have to play 3 games in 4 days, so you're trying to balance, obviously, the fact that you want to go win this game. You want to do everything you can to win this game with, you know, getting guys an opportunity and putting the best lineups on the floor together. So I would say that the playing time on Thursday, it won't be like it was on Saturday. It's not going to be that democratic, but you know, we certainly want our guys that come in off the bench to be able to come in and help us. And I think the stronger our bench is, the more it gives us the ability to get some guys some critical rest.
Thanks all. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.